Hi guys, welcome to another video. Hope you're all keeping well. Now for this video I'm going to review a Blu-ray that I watched just last night. Now the movie's from 1972. It was directed by Hollingsworth Morse and it stars Tom Selleck and Barbara Grant, and that movie is called Daughters of Satan. Now, as per usual, before I say anything further about the movie and give you my thoughts on the storyline as a whole, I'll just read you the synopsis on the back of this edition, just in case you're not familiar with it. Now, Tom Selleck from Magnum stars in a bewitching occult thriller. First time I've seen him in a horror movie, to be honest. Now, be careful what you witch for. Don't know who makes these synopsises up. Yeah, be careful what you wish for with this spellbinding thriller that delves into the realms of ancient covens and the conquistadors who loathe them. Now, Tom Selleck delivers a commanding performance as James Robertson, an antique dealer living in Manila in the Philippines. Now, James buys a Spanish painting dating back to 1592 from an art gallery, because the painting depicts three witches being burnt at the stake, and one of the witches has an uncanny resemblance to his wife Chris. But the similarity turns out to be much more than a coincidence when Chris becomes possessed by the spirit of her evil doppelganger. Now, she soon meets two local women who resemble the other two witches from the painting. The three decide to murder James, as he may be a descendant of the conquistador responsible for the burning of the original coven. So there you go, guys. That's the synopsis for the 1972 occult thriller Daughters of Satan, starring Tom Selleck from Magnum. All right then, guys. On to my thoughts on the movie as a whole. Yeah, quite enjoyed it. Yeah, nothing great. It's a pretty average witchcraft movie. Yeah, so basically you've got Tom Selleck as this antique dealer. He goes to this shop in the Philippines. He's living in the Philippines, and he goes to this art shop, and he sees this painting of three witches being burnt at the stake, in 1592, and he's immediately struck by how much one of the witches, the witch that's in the middle getting burned, bears such a striking resemblance to his wife, Chris. So he buys the painting, and he takes it home, and he shows it to his wife, and immediately she seems to have like reservations about him buying it, and that she got this sort of like serious expression on her face, and she says like, was that really wise, buying that painting, and she becomes like uneasy, and she basically says to him, why did you bring it home, so but he loves the painting and that, and he wants to keep it and that. Yeah, so and then she says she says a couple of things about the painting, like, the sort of like the circumstances in which the witches were burned, and Tom Selleck, he expresses surprise that she seems to know quite a bit of history revolving around these three witches and that, that were burned at the stake. So he wants to keep it and that, so they end up keeping it, like, in the house and that. And but the wife says turn it against the wall, she said, because she's still uneasy about it for some reason. She doesn't like the painting at all. And she says, before they go to bed, just turn it. And he said, okay, fair enough. So he turns the painting to face the wall. So subsequently, later on, around about the middle of the night when they're lying in bed, Chris is awakened by the strange noises. Like, it sounds like somebody calling a name, from somewhere in the depths of the night, calling a name over and over again. Real creepy scene, and when she goes to investigate in that, she hears this voice calling a name and that. And then she rouses her husband and that, and he grabs a gun and that. But she's like, oh no, don't don't use that, basically, in that, So, so he basically persuades him to go back to bed and that, But then, like, you've got like shades of omen start getting exhibited, guys, because you've got this like big dog called Nicodeus, So yeah, shades of the omen, because he arrives on the scene and he starts sort of like basically going for everybody and that, Yeah, so you've got that pretty much like the other one, the devil dog trope again. Now, the dog, Nicodemus, is also on the painting, and Tom Selleck notices that the dog suddenly disappeared from the painting, which is, he puzzled about that and that, And then you've got this mysterious woman who arrives on the scene. She claims to have answered an advert in the newspaper for a housekeeper, and Chris says, oh, I didn't put any adverts. in the newspaper. So basically, she sort of like worms away into the family, and that, you know, this mysterious woman. She just arrived out of the blue, like Mary Poppins and Mrs. Baylock from The Omen, you know, and she sets herself up in the home and that, and there's something creepy about her, you know. And then, like, I won't say too much more about the movie, guys, because I'll let you see it for yourself, like, if you're interested in that. So basically, like, Tom Selleck, like, he gets a bit of hassle from some of the locals. So it reminds me of Magnum, where he has tussles and that, you know, with different people, and that he does a little bit of action fighting and that, you know. So a little bit of Magnum there. Displayed, yeah. He's very young in this, by the way, Tom Selleck. So I think he made this just before he went into Magnum. You know, that's a photo of him playing the witch finder, or basically the guy who put the witches to death in 1592. You know, so you know, the witches basically wanted kill Tom Selleck because they think he's a descendant of this guy who burned him at the stake years ago, yeah. And there's one of the witches there, guys, yeah. So yeah, as I say, it's a pretty good occult movie, but don't go into it expecting a lot of blood and gore, you know. But you know, because you just won't get it. It's more kind of a creepy mystery, you know. Oh, I must warn you guys, at the beginning there's a very, very lurid scene involving a naked Oriental girl tied up and being whipped, and she's being suspended over this bed of spikes. Very, very creepy, horrific scene, you know. So be warned. So the movie opens with that scene of, you know, torture and that, you know, the woman getting suspended and that, getting whipped and that, and she's dangling over the bed of spikes. So yeah, so just be mindful of that when you start watching the movie. If you don't like torture scenes, you know, you might be well advised to skip that. But I must warn you, it crops up again later on in the movie. But I won't say no more about that. Yeah. So, and then you've got this mortician in the movie, and that he's sort of like he's a kind of an oddball, because he's photographing a dead corpse on a slab, and he starts singing this jolly song and that, you know. I mean, fancy singing a bloody jolly song where you photograph the dead a stiff on the morgue and that, you know. So there's something funny about him, you know. And well, basically, Magnum, you know, he goes to Tom Selleck. He goes to consult him because he wants to know about who is the owner of the dog, you know, Nicodemus. Yeah. So, there's lovely shots, guys, of Manila in the Philippines. Oh, lovely street scenes and that, you know. Reminded me of like the beautiful scenery in what you see in Italian giallo movies. Great shots of 1972 Philippines and that, Manila. Lovely colour. Yeah, beautiful colour. This Blu-ray. It's got no extras, guys. Well, no real extras just to speak of. It's just got like basically the trailer. Yeah, so but yeah, if you like a good average witchcraft movie from 1970s, you might enjoy this one. But I say, don't go into it expecting a real gory horror. There's only the torture scene at the beginning, and again later on, where she's getting, you know, what I just explained to you about. But yeah, other than that, it could have very easily been a TV movie, you know. Yeah, and I'd say like it has your guess right to the end and that, you know, because you don't know if these witches have really come back to modern day Manila, you know. So you've got that element of mystery, you know. So but yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to keep it in my collection, unlike that pile of drivel I spoke about in my last video, or Satan's Cheerleaders. Oh yeah, and there's no teenagers in this, guys, either, you know. There's no stupid teenagers and that acting the ghosts and that, you know, stupid cheerleaders and that. It's just a straightforward movie, straightforward occult movie, and I think you'll enjoy it if you like these type of things, you know, as I do. I don't mind that there's no like you know, not much blood and gore, as long as the story's good. I always place emphasis on the story, you know, if it's a good story. Yeah, so as I say, like, don't expect tons of blood and gore in this movie, because you won't get it. Yeah, in some ways, it's quite reminiscent of the. I don't know if any of you guys have watched any of the episodes of Night Gallery, you know, hosted by Rod Serling of the Twilight Zone. It came out around about this time, the early 70s. There's a story in I think it's the pilot of Night Gallery, where Roddy McDowall has this painting and that, you know, strange painting, and figures start disappearing or moving around and that. It was very, 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 very reminiscent of that episode, you know. So yeah, so I say it was more of a kind of a creepy mystery than an out-and-out horror, you know. But I derived a lot of enjoyment from it, you know. I must warn you, it is a bit of a slow burner, you know. So don't expect it to be fast-paced and that full of action from the word go. You won't get that. It builds up a bit like Rosemary's Baby, that sort of thing. It builds up and that. But great performances by Tom Selleck and Bernard Grant as the husband and wife, you know, and you know, the sinister witches and that. And but yeah, look, as I say, a very enjoyable movie, and I will be keeping this in my collection, because I I enjoyed it. I didn't get bored with it, even though it was pretty slow in parts and that, you know. I like, as I say, I like the nod to the Omen as well, with the creepy dog and that, you know. A very recurring motif in these kind of movies and that, yeah. And it did get that sort of like sense of impending doom as well throughout the movie, because something bad was gonna happen, you know. And yeah, got some very dark scenes in this, guys. Yeah. So all in all, guys, yeah, I enjoyed Daughters of Satan. On to a rating now. I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. It's just lost the point for being just a itsy bitsy teeny bit slow, you know. But you know, that aside, it was an enjoyable movie, you know. And Tom Selleck was great in the role. But Barbara Grant, as I say, was good, you know, as his wife and that, you know, and the mystery and that, you know, and the dark atmosphere, you know, surrounding the movie and that, you know. And as I say, lovely cinematography, very well put together movie. All right then, guys, that concludes my review of the 1972 occult American movie Daughters of Satan. Have you seen Daughters of Satan by any chance? What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd be very interested, you know, to read your comments. But yeah, I did enjoy it. Not great, I must emphasise, it's not a fantastic, jaw-dropping black magic movie. But having said that, it's a very enjoyable one. And it did have me gripped from start to finish. All right then, guys, that's it. Usually, if you like the video, please feel free to share, subscribe. And all going well, I'll be back again very soon with another video. Take care. Bye for now.